Hey Knoxville, I'm Mayor Indya Kincannon, and this is Kickin It with Kincannon. Every month, we sit down with community leaders, city staff, and Knoxville neighbors to talk about what's happening in Knoxville, the progress, the challenges, and the people who make it all work. So let's get to it. Welcome back to Kickin It with Kincannon. I'm Mayor Indya Kincannon, and this is our 9th episode where I have the opportunity to share with you some cool stuff that's happening in our city. We've had some people out in the community, theater groups and people with the Maker City. And sometimes we'd use these podcasts to introduce you and help you get to know people who are keeping our city running smoothly. And there's one department that I think is a little bit of an unsung hero in what keeps Knoxville moving, and that's our Fleet Services Department. So today I have Nicholas Bradshaw, the Director of Fleet Services, on to hear more about what keeps him ticking and a little bit more about the people who help keep all these vehicles across the city going through snow, sleet, sun, the heat of the summer, the cold weather of the winter. You guys keep our city running. And I just want to thank you, Nick, for being on with us today. You are a rising star in city government, and I'm not the only one who thinks so. You were recently recognized as one of the 40 under 40 leaders in our community. So congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that.
And, I also think it's pretty impressive, and you're a great role model because you have had an interesting career within the city.
Yeah.
You've been tell us a little bit about when did you join the city of Knoxville and how did you end up being Director of Fleet Services?
Yeah, I guess I've had a unique path, but I'm closing in on 17 years now with the city. Started in April of 2009 in the Building Inspections Department. I was an administrative technician doing payroll and that sort of thing, and went from there to be a human resource analyst in our, at the time, Civil Service Department. And then from there went to Public Service, where I was Planning and Safety Coordinator, and then Deputy Director of Fleet after that, and Director of Fleet. And I've had a few interim assignments on the way as well.
Interim assignments as well.
Yeah.
Well, to me, those different exposures to various departments have helped make you a stronger leader because you're one of those internal departments. You don't interface with the general public, but you help all those departments that do. So help me understand a little bit how understanding HR or public service or some of those other, budgeting, administrative stuff have helped you be a stronger leader for Fleet Services.
Yeah, well, I think it's all about perspective, and you hit the nail on the head there with we're a support role. Our job is to make sure the other departments can be as successful as they can with their service delivery, police, fire, public service, and all the departments. So I think it's I think having an understanding, maybe an empathy of some of the pressures that the departments are under. When I was in public service, especially, really have an understanding of the need to have equipment and the stress that it causes when it's down or when you're not adequately, your needs aren't sufficient for what you need to deliver that day. There's a lot of pressure. Right. I think in Fleet, maybe you don't always see that. You sort of think of things on the other side in Fleet sometimes of, maybe they're not taking care of the equipment well, and that's why it's down. Stuff like that's not very productive. But I think
blame game doesn't really help anything.
Yeah, so I think having that extra perspective and seeing things from multiple angles can really help you to. It's like, well, no, that's not really the case. They're out there working doubles trying to get trash picked up or what.
Right.
There's a lot of pressure from the public and everywhere else to get this job done, and they've got to have the equipment.
That's right. Well, one of my goals is to be brilliant at the basics. So we are maintaining our sidewalks and keeping up with construction and paving and picking up trash and maintaining our trees and all of those things, as well as obviously emergency services for police and fire. But I had no idea when I took office how many vehicles are necessary to keep those essential services going. So tell us, how many different vehicles and motors does Fleet Services maintain?
Yeah, we've got about 1,600 total assets, fleet assets. Of those, about 1,100 are sort of on-road vehicles, traditional vehicles, and the rest are trailers, zero-turn mowers, tractors, heavy construction equipment, bobcats, forklifts, everything in between. and then that's our fleet, and then on top of that, our small engine shop has another several hundred handheld small engines.
Okay.
Chainsaws,
Weed whackers, chainsaws.
Yep, pole saws, all those things. But
so we're talking about like probably close to 2,000 different.
Total things that we take care of. But our fleet itself is about 1,600 assets, and it runs the gamut from zero-turn lawnmowers all the way up to fire trucks.
What is a zero-turn lawnmower?
It's the ones that doesn't have the wheel on it. It's got the things on the side, the levers, and you can just turn on a dime.
Oh, okay. I have seen those.
Yeah. That's what we use in our parks primarily. So
you're
not rounding off corners and things. You're really doing a
sharp turn. 90-degree angle. So, well, that reminds me. You've seen a lot of. You've helped lead a lot of innovation over the course of your leadership of fleet services. Tell us a little bit about how you balance the need to just keep doing the basics and make sure everything's running on time and keeping up, but also trying to invite innovation to be more efficient or just to do things in a more modern way. I'm really proud of your leadership in that, but I think the listeners would love to hear more about that.
Oh, I appreciate you saying that. I think my guys probably get tired of hearing me say it, but I think we always need to be getting better, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's more about just excelling at whatever we're doing, and I've got a lot of little sayings I'm sure they get tired of me saying, but the moment you stop trying to get better is when you start getting worse, is one of them. So I think
that's a good one.
Yeah, I think innovation is just sort of part of what keeps you moving forward. I think I really had the experience as deputy director of fleet, boots on the ground with the operations, sort of in the shops and really working on efficiencies and setting up good procedures and getting a good staff in place and laying a lot of that groundwork as far as the day-to-day services that we're providing. And then when I was able to move into the director role, it allowed me to focus a little more on some of the big picture stuff you're talking about. How do we get better, and how do we move forward and not just keep doing what we're doing.
Well, one of the things that I'm really just got to view recently was you asked for in the budget a year ago to have a 3D printer.
Yeah.
And I was like, how is that going to help fix cars? And you made your case, and we put it in the budget, and you got the 3D printer. And, tell us how that has saved us time and money.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite of our new innovations. We do a lot of innovations that really, they do save resources, we do total cost of ownership analysis on all the vehicles and figure out, window replacement, all those things. But we went through, I'm sure you remember in the 2021, 2022, we had a parts shortage. So supply chain crisis.
I sure do remember
that. Gripped the entire nation, the world. But it really hit us especially hard in fleet services with our automotive parts and equipment and the very long lead times and stuff being back ordered and out of stock, and that led to more equipment being down, and then they sort of pile up, and it's a really difficult cycle to get out of. So at the time, we were looking at creative solutions and how to overcome that, and we had some great contacts over the years with some people at UT and at Oak Ridge, and we're able to talk to them and learn about 3D printing. Some of our own staff do 3D printing as a hobby.
No, that's an unusual hobby.
It is, but it's there's several.
It turned out to be pretty helpful.
There's several in fleet, but yeah, so that it's sort of that's the genesis of that particular problem was figuring out creative ways to solve our supply chain issues, and from when we learned that manufacturers the specs are usually available. If they're not online, you can ask them and they'll send them to you. They're not terribly proprietary about a lot of those things. Parts and supplies and things.
So now when a certain part breaks, we can just make our own.
Yeah, on a lot of them. Yeah, I mean, some things you can't, but, there's, and we have a scanner as well, a 3D scanner, which I've had some fun playing with, trying to get to know, but you can import patterns, you can design things yourself in the software, or you can use the scanner to get all the dimensions exactly perfectly, and then you can 3D print it in the 3D printer. And we've had quite a lot of success with that so far. We're still getting better as we learn and go forward. But that's a big win. Another thing that I think that we should be really proud of is our sustainability efforts. As you probably know, the biggest sources of
emissions in the world are, buildings, transportation, and waste. And so we have 1,600 vehicles, and you've made really big strides to helping us adopt a policy. First, the green vehicles policy, to have the most fuel-efficient types of fuels, and also how many EVs have we acquired? Tell us a little bit about adopting the policy, and are we, I think, one of the best fleet services organizations across the country in this realm and other ways too. So tell us a little bit about that.
Thank you. Yeah. The Green Fleet Policy is really a decision-making framework. We obviously do a lot of analysis and number crunching every year anyway for vehicles and equipment to figure out when to replace something and how do we replace it with what. So this was an element we added to our decision-making framework to consider the greenest possible option when a particular unit is up for replacement. So there's a tiered system, So
when you started, did the city have any electric vehicles?
No.
And how many do we have now?
We have 58 on-road electric.
58, ladies and gentlemen, from 0 to 58.
That's right.
That's something to be really proud of.
It is.
And it's not, even KPD has
every department.
One EV.
That was one of my initiatives when I started was to get an EV in every single department, and we are there. That's
it was really
a really exciting.
Big deal.
It was, and some of our departments have very small fleets. IS has one vehicle, and it is electric.
Okay, so, well there you go.
Every department that has a fleet asset has an electric fleet asset, which is something I was really proud of. So
and you've also helped us be more efficient by having AVLs. I don't even know what that stands for. Little
automated vehicle locators.
Automated vehicle locators to make sure we're running the most efficient routes.
Oh yeah, we got a lot of great technology we're doing, but we have a lot of plug-in hybrids and traditional hybrids and alternative fuel vehicles as well. But the AVL is a device that we install them in almost all the equipment. We're working on getting the rest. We've got 750 plus of the on-road vehicles with AVLs in them now. We're getting the rest done. But you can monitor. It's the real-time monitoring. You can see where the vehicle's been historically as well. Mm-hmm. It helps with safety. We get crash alerts. We can set up a crash alert so I can know exactly when something happens.
That's important.
It is really important. You're not waiting on a call or or a report. You know immediately. But even things like speeding alerts and harsh braking and things, coachable moments you can help with. But
coachable moments,
yes,
I like it. Yeah, that HR mindset.
I'm an HR guy. But
was speaking of your HR background, I remember not too long ago, like a lot of departments, we were having trouble attracting and retaining technicians because they could make more money in the private sector. I feel like through your good management and leadership, and through raises through our budget, we're doing better, right? And we're fully staffed.
Fleet is fully staffed, 100% at this moment,
great.
Which is an amazing accomplishment I never thought we would achieve.
Yeah.
But it's not one you hear about very much. But take a picture of that org chart and save it because it's a precious thing.
Well, and I think part of it is the way that you have cultivated a sense of mission. And recently, during the bad weather we had back in January, I know sometimes you go out and talk to the people who are plowing and brining in public service, and they do a great job. Mm-hmm. But I took some time to go to our heavy shop and watch when one of our snowplow vehicles pulls in, and it was like a NASCAR operation.
Yeah.
They had like 5 or 6 technicians coming in, replacing fluids, tightening screws, repairing. And it was like a well-oiled machine. Although, I think that's a very appropriate metaphor. But was it always like that, or did you? Yeah, tell us, how did you get from what did it used to be like, and how did you get the team to work so smoothly? Because they were really proud, and they should be.
They should.
They got those people in and out, back on the roads, plowing the streets in like 15 to 20 minutes.
Yeah. Well, it was
I was impressed.
We've come a long way. There was. When I first started, we weren't even assigning work orders at the time. Work orders would come in and they'd sit them on the shelf, and mechanics would sort of wander up to the front and rifle through what they wanted to work on and pick one. And it was
not really prioritized.
That's the tip of the iceberg there. But we've done a lot of work in terms of policies and procedures and hiring. And what you said about the recruiting problem is very apt. But we really devoted resources to fixing our recruiting problem. It's really difficult to hire mechanics. There's a supply and demand issue that's nationwide, where you're competing for every one of these guys. And I think we were able to bridge that with our apprentice mechanic program we started a few years ago, partnership with TCAT and also with the American Job Center to really build our own pipeline and get into our friends and neighbors at TCAT in Knoxville, which is right next door to the heavy shop, Liberty there, and we recruit directly from there and bring them in for apprenticeship opportunities, these students, and then hopefully they develop and we keep them. And a lot of our new staff come through that pipeline.
That's great.
And they've also helped us to bridge gaps through temporary, even if they don't stay permanently. We have
When I talk to some of the fleet service folks who have been in the private sector and then the city, and then they might go out to the private sector and then they come back.
Yeah.
Because the culture of working with you and your team and being mission driven, and I think better hours sometimes.
Sure. Maybe
Maybe not during snow events and ice events, but in general, they seem really happy to be working with you.
It's fun. Thank you for saying that. But it's the new guys don't. We're not sticking them doing tire and lube jobs.
Right.
They get to work on hydraulics. They get to work on tractors. They can work on sometimes fire trucks, dump trucks, big truck. It's everything. And we're not saying, okay, you go change this tire and you change the oil
Over and over and over again.
Yeah, no, they're getting all of it. So we're a lot better than the quick change places and dealerships. So I think there's an excitement and it's interesting and it's challenging. And when you have a good group of good balance and good leadership in terms of the supervisors and managers, that's the ones I see every day. You got to get those jobs right. But it's about getting the right people in the right slots and then giving them the support that they need so they can succeed.
So when you were growing up, are you good at fixing things? Are you good at how did you imagine that you'd be in this role over fleet services?
No.
Can you fix an engine?
No.
But you know where to go to get it done right.
I'll tell you this story. When I was in inspections, when I first started, I was 24 years old. I was right out of grad school, and somebody had said something to me about taking something to fleet, and I looked at them like they had two heads, and I was like, "The city has a Navy." So that was where I came from fleet. Now, my brother is a professional mechanic, and my dad was a backyard shade tree mechanic, so I'm familiar. But no, my background was in public administration. That's what I went to school for. So I'm really comfortable in.
I like that. That's sort of my field too.
Yeah. So I really comfortable in working in a lot of different areas. I think that's what's enabled me to go from very different worlds, from public service and fleet to HR and other places. So that's where I'm at. I do not. I'm good at fixing things, but not from a mechanically.
More of a management perspective.
I think so.
Yeah.
At least.
Well, there are probably people who are really good at repairing engines and hydraulics who might not be interested in the management side of things. So I think that's not. Management is a skill, and it's a leadership skill, and it's something that you obviously do very, very well. So
thank you. I appreciate that.
We're very lucky to have you. So I want to get a little bit into Nicholas Bradshaw, the person. What motivates you? Are you from this area? Tell us a little bit about when you get up in the morning. What makes you excited to come to work, or your family, that sort of thing. So,
I was born and raised in Loudon down the street, so I'm pretty close to being a native. But
that's East Tennessee.
Yeah, it is. So both my parents from Loudon, and for many years. Went to school at UT Chattanooga for undergrad and UT Knoxville. I moved to Knoxville for grad school. And I'm married, I have 3 kids, so I spend a lot of my time with my family.
I hear your oldest is old enough to drive now?
She is. Yeah. I'm doing driving lessons every weekend now, and it's a new experience.
It is a new experience, so I've been there, and good luck with that.
Yeah,
be patient.
Yeah.
And hopefully your daughter will be patient with you too.
We're getting along. We're not having any fights, so I'm good I've had a lot of de-escalation training over the years, so trying to bring that to bear. But that's exciting. It's always fun to do.
So you have a busy job, and I really appreciate you. You've been a steady hand throughout my tenure as mayor, and I'm really grateful for that. What do you do to unwind and relax? When you aren't at work, hopefully you take some time to recover and relax. What do you do when you have the time?
I've got a lot of interests. I'm a big movie buff, especially old movies.
What's one of your favorites?
I'm a big Humphrey Bogart fan. Everything he's ever done,
Casablanca.
basically. But yeah, Maltese Falcon,
Oh
Casablanca.
yeah, African Queen. Those are some good ones.
Yeah, great ones. I like.
Do you have an impersonation?
Not a good one.
Okay.
No, I wouldn't want to break it out right now. And I think I had to work on it some. But
It's your chance to showcase your Humphrey Bogart skills.
I could do it. I could maybe do an Edward G. Robinson or a Cagney a little bit, but Bogey's. Yeah.
So you love old classic movies.
Yeah.
And,
I'm a big music buff as well. I collect a vinyl. I'm interested in records.
What genres?
I like. Well, I'm a 60s and 70s classic rock mostly. It's a little older than me.
Okay.
Okay,
Stones or Beatles?
I love them both, but I'm a Beatles fan first and foremost. They're my
All right.
all-time sort of favorite. I've seen the Stones twice, and they're one of my favorite bands as well. But and then I get into the Zeppelin and Floyd and a lot of '80s new wave. Joy Division.
Okay.
I got a lot of
Yeah,
interest,
that's
but
a wide array.
Yeah.
So when you are really tired and you need to wake up, do you do coffee or an energy drink or neither? You do some jumping jacks? No. Or bring the lead out and bring some Led Zeppelin.
Yeah, I'll crank some Zepp or Sabbath if I need to.
Black Sabbath, wow.
That's absolutely.
You're full of surprises.
Yeah. I got some Ozzy.
You have an
solo
Ozzy
years.
Osbourne impersonation?
No, not suitable anyway.
Okay.
But I think some great records there. But I'm a coffee guy. Yeah. I did work at Starbucks for a while in school, so I've learned my way around the latte.
Okay.
But I'll drink a little bit of coffee. Yeah.
Well, Nick, there's two questions that I've asked people when they come on the podcast that I want to ask you too. First, if you were mayor for a day, how would you spend that day? What would you do during your time as mayor?
Oh, there's so many things, I'd love to do something with sustainability or fleet, but I'm also a history buff. I think I'd probably, if I had one day.
You'd make history.
Yeah, I'd probably do something with, but the local history, I'd love to do something with one of my favorite events that we've done was several years ago on Statehood Day when we did a big event. We went from James White Fort and we walked up to Blunt Mansion. And I brought my girls, and we toured both. And there were some speakers. This was the 225th, I think it was, anniversary of Statehood, and did the tour. They wrote a thing on a quill pen with a proclamation, and it was a really cool. I really enjoyed it, and I'd love to just do more. We have so much great history downtown, and even next to our building, I can see James White Fort and Blunt Mansion from my office.
So
that's
right.
Yeah, so I would probably do some kind of I'd put together a East Tennessee history event or Knoxville history event. I'm sure.
I like it. Maybe a reenactment of one kind or another.
Yeah, that's probably
I like it. Well, the other question I always ask, I love reading. I like movies and other things too, but reading is what I do to relax. And so, do you have any book recommendations or something that you recommend or that you're reading and enjoying, whether fiction, nonfiction?
I'm a big reader. I'm always reading. I'm here in recent years. I've been more into history and biographies and such. I'm reading a book right now called The Storm Before the Storm, which is about the Roman Republic, which is interesting. It's sort of, I think everyone knows the late Republic story with Caesar and Antony and Cleopatra and all that, but this is right before that, sort of set the stage for the later stages of the Roman Republic.
It was a long time.
Yeah.
Long history.
But there's a lot that went on in that sort of period immediately prior to the period that gets all the attention that sort of set the stage for how the Republic deteriorated and ultimately collapsed. But that's what I'm reading right now, and that's a period I've always been very interested in.
Well, if you have any lessons for municipal governance based on the Roman Empire, rise and fall.
It doesn't change that much. I mean, the people change, but the patterns.
Yeah.
You see a lot of through lines through all of history.
Absolutely. Well, I think that's a great message to end on, because I think your talents have been built through HR and civil service and inspections and just being a good people person and leader of people, and you're talents were very much appreciated as
Thank
head
you.
of Fleet Services. So thanks so much for being on the show. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time for our 10th episode. Thanks for kicking it with me today. If you like this episode, share it with a friend, and be sure to follow Kickin' It with Kincannon wherever you listen to podcasts. For more updates, visit knoxvilletn.gov or follow us on social. Until next time, take care, Knoxville.